Hey guys, PIEGUYRULZ here, and some new episodes of Steven Universe came out, and so we are here to talk about them. The episodes being Familiar and Together Alone. These episodes aired on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, respectively. So, just doing a little roundup after the fact. I am joined by the person who I did the last round of discussions with, Lea.
Hi guys.
And I'm also joined by friend Nikki, who was also on the recast recently.
Hakuna Matata. Hello.
Oh goodness.
Beautiful introduction.
Yep. So it actually kind of worked out that we're talking about these together because they're very much like a pair of episodes. Like there's definitely kind of a paradigm shift after these two episodes. So they fit, and like Familiar is kind of like the setup and Steven getting ideas and hopes and thoughts about the ball, and then Together Alone is kind of where things don't go as Steven expected. Lea, why don't you tell us what Familiar is about?
Basically, this starts right after Legs when Steven's sent to his room by White Diamond, which technically is Pink Diamond's room. And we get to see the pebbles, which are these weird little not gem things. Anyways, we don't know what they are yet. So they basically just like bring the room to life and make whatever he wants, kind of like Rose's room, except they're actual living beings doing it and not some sentient force. So basically what happens is Steven talks to Yellow and Blue Diamond, and he tries to talk to them, trying to get advice on how he should talk to White Diamond, because nobody knows how to talk to her. She just kind of like pushed everything aside, didn't listen to him. But we learned from Yellow Diamond that that's normal. So he eventually just gets pushed to the side by them, and he's just very unhappy because he kind of realizes that Pink Diamond wasn't she wasn't, they weren't taking her seriously, essentially, and they just kind of like pushed her to the side. So he kind of learns that, and then he's wondering why the situation is so familiar, and he realizes it's because the crystal gems, when he was originally becoming a crystal gem, treated him the exact same way. And then he learns that Pink Diamond, and this is how they phrased it, not my wording, used to throw massive balls. So basically, like, Pink Diamond threw these parties to try and bring all the diamonds together, and all the diamonds would attend. So Steven came up with the grand idea, like, oh, well, if we throw a ball, that means that White Diamond's gonna come, and then we can talk to her there. So that's basically what that episode was.
Okay. So the funny thing is that when I was watching this episode, like I got an Adventure Time feel from it. Like Blue Diamond's got a comb and it's got a little Adventure Timey face and it's singing to her. And I went and
Yeah.
I looked, and Pendleton Ward worked on this episode.
Yeah,
So that's no
yeah,
coincidence.
I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, like that's kind of the thing that I don't think we really got like the last time we went to Homeworld, is that Homeworld is weird. Like Homeworld is really weird. Like there's sentient walls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's Comey, the sentient comb. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not joking. That was the name of it in the credits.
Yeah, that's a Pendleton Ward thing, 100%. Oh goodness. So that I thought that gave it a really interesting flavor rather than just kind of being this like boring place. It's like by the books, but it's by the books in its very, very weird way.
Yeah, and like I mentioned this I think before, but I really like how they made the show super weird, especially Homeworld, because it's just like everything kind of seems super humanoid with the gems. They kind of just seem like humans that have like blue, green, and like red skin coloring with superpowers and gems in their body. Like they don't
Yeah.
really seem super alien. So then you get to Homeworld, and then you're just like, oh my gosh, like none of this is what Earth is like. So it's a completely different playing field, which is nice that we're getting this like so far into the show. We're getting this entirely new and different atmosphere.
And I kind of wonder, I mean, with the show, a lot of stuff is planned in advance, but I kind of wonder how much of it was in this case, because like when we saw the zoo wasn't anything like this.
No.
And maybe there's like an in-story reason. Maybe they kind of wanted to shock us with it at this point, or maybe it was just something that they thought of like, well, we have too many gems that are just kind of like, yeah, they have 2 arms and 2 legs, or like 4 arms and 2 legs. So let's have like this is the next episode, but let's have these cog gems. Like, why not? Um,
Mhm.
so that's kind of like one of the things that struck me from the episode as a whole. And another thing is just that it's like I wouldn't say Familiar is like an episode like one of my top 5 favorite episodes or anything, but it's like there was nothing about this episode that I didn't like or had a problem with or was like I would have done that differently. Like it was just a perfectly like I like the way this show is going episode.
Yeah, no, like I totally agree. And the good thing too about this is, and I posted this on Twitter, I was like, we're kind of like in the Renaissance era of Steven Universe right now, where it feels I'm not, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and say it feels like an entirely different show at this point. And that's not really a bad thing because I think this is the direction that the show should have been going in.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
and I'm like, I don't get me wrong, I love the show, I love the older seasons, but it feels like this is the direction that it should have started going in like a season ago. So I'm really happy that we're at this point now. It feels like we're getting to this point where everybody's happy with the episodes just because we're getting introduced to basically all the concepts that we've wanted to see in this show and we're actually seeing them happen. So it
Right.
just feels really different.
I think I think it's because there's no Beach City episodes, so we don't have to mingle with the human stuff and human worlds. I know people always complain about the whole like another Beach City episode. It is an episode to show like more like character interactions and like lessons and morals. But I think that's why everyone's liking it so much because it's finally focusing on gem stuff and what's Homeworld like. Like it's so weird and alien. It's like awesome. So I think that's why I'm liking it.
We needed a really big push for the direction of the show, and this is giving it to us majorly.
Mhm.
And like you'd have season 1 where meeting one new gem was like a huge reveal, and we got what 3 gems in the first like 2 seasons or so. Like it was a slow burn, and to have this happen and we just meet all of these background gems, we learn all this bit about the culture. There doesn't seem to be anything that's holding back. I mean, I'm sure there's still secrets and like we don't know what's going on with White Diamond, but the show isn't like framing things in such a way to hide reveals from us anymore. It's just like, yep, you're on Homeworld now. Here's Homeworld.
Yeah, it's very natural. It's like natural, like, okay, we learn more about stuff. We learn about, the sentient walls, and like what's as more importantly, everyone's role in the Homeworld, apparently, because apparently having roles and placement and structure is very important to this Homeworld hierarchy.
Hmm.
So it's very fascinating. Like rewatching the episode Familiar, we like for example, we get to learn more about Pink's role in particular, and like the more we learn about her, she was a great, she threw massive balls. She liked making like yellow like when Pink made her laugh, and their time in the pool. The more and more we learn more about her, the more like it sounded more like she's more like a jester, or like just entertainment for the diamonds.
That's very fitting for the costume they gave her.
Exactly. Like that's what I was thinking too when they immediately were like, "Oh, she was just kind of like an entertainment gem." I was just like, "She literally looks like a court jester. That's probably why she looks like that."
And her chair is also tiny compared to the other ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think it's for me it's kind of conflicting because she has a lot of Disney princess parallels with the whole like Pebbles as the little mice, like pinky time, and it's like it's like she's Cinderella in this, and she likes to sing underwater as an Ariel moment there. She became a Mulan moment with her rose thing. It's really conflicting because like everyone all of her court respects her and loves her, but at the same time she's being like mistreated by her diamond family. So I'm kind of conflicted like is she being treated like a princess or treated as Pinkie Pie? Is she a party animal?
Well, I think one important thing that we don't know yet, and this is something that I think they might be getting around to answering, is how diamonds come to be, and especially how Pink Diamond came into existence. Because if her existence was a random happenstance, that's different than if yellow and blue and white specifically made Pink to be this kind of gestury character. Like I mean, maybe we'll never get an answer to it, but I think that it kind of does change a little bit of how the diamonds treated her and everything. But like the reason I say that maybe we're getting around to it is because I think the pebbles are like I could be completely wrong on this, but they seem to pay particular note to draining. gonna phrase this, draining the fluids from Yellow and Blue when they were both in their sauna and their bath respectively. And then when Steven is singing, I forget if he sweats or I think he cries, and one of the pebbles comes to life. So we know that there's another way that gems are made aside from just like in the earth. So maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure.
Well, it's either the gems being brought to life, or if you remember, there's also the watermelon Stevens. It could just be like material in general.
But is that entirely different from, like, would that not just be an extension of potentially?
See, like I have no idea, because like I've had a few theories that I'm thinking about, but I need to do more research on.
Like, I don't know why they'd show us that specifically in the same, like, Steven creating the pebble in the same episode as we see. Like, the diamonds aren't the type to just kind of take a bath, it seems.
No.
Like, there seemed to be a purpose to what they were doing.
They might have, and I'm not really sure if like this holds any weight whatsoever, but it might be something akin to like light pollution or something, like they're getting rid of like pollutants or something from their body, because if you remember, they're literally made of light. So they might be like expelling like light pollution or something. I don't know how else to like rephrase that. Like,
so you're telling me we just watched an episode where Steven hung out with the diamonds as they expelled waste?
Yes.
That's your theory?
Listen, no. There's like science behind this, but I haven't researched it yet, so I can't give you a clear answer. But no, like I don't know, because and don't quote me on this, but I believe like Comey has the same voice actress as Blue Diamond, and the Pebbles have the same voice actress as Steven, or as Rose rather. So like it kind of makes sense if you think about it, because like it's part of them in a way. So they have like the same voice actresses, just like all the Pearls have the same voice actresses, all the Rubies have the same voice actress.
I think it's kind of interesting you guys mentioned how, like, they probably made pink to make more gems, using extraction. But I think it's another parallel here. I think the reason, like, maybe another reason they brought pink into the, the diamond, to the diamonds, is that they want someone to talk to. Like, Blue was obviously very, very close to pink. Maybe Yellow was, like, all the diamonds are very close to pink. So, like, how in season 1, season 2, Steven would talk to the gems, Steven with Pearl 101. And I think in a way it's another parallel how both Steven and Pink will be a way for the diamonds and the crystal gems to talk to them in a way, like a therapy kind of talk. Like maybe another, like maybe that's why I saw Pink as like an entertainer. Like, you can make me feel happy.
It doesn't seem like they would make a diamond just to be entertainment. It is very well possible that if indeed they made her on purpose, and it's not just some sort of like, when two stars collide, a diamond is made or something.
Yeah.
It could very well just be that she was, they had a big empire and they just wanted another diamond to help them rule it. And she ended up in the same way that Amethyst ended up a little different, and all the gems ended up a little different. Because I don't know, it's kind of weird to think about that. I mean, the diamonds seem kind of cruel, but they don't seem like they'd create a diamond just to laugh at them or just to see them as a jester. But I could see them shaping her into that if they don't take her seriously.
I mean, I could see White Diamond doing it, but I can't see Blue or Yellow Diamond doing it. I mean, and from the sense that I'm getting from it, it seems kind of like they weren't expecting her and she just kind of happened, just from how they react to her, because they don't seem like prepared or willing at all to deal with like her antics or anything. And I think if they made her, they probably would have been a little bit more prepared for it, but they just kind of always seem frustrated with her. And that might be just from thousands of years of her not doing what they want her to do, but I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Greg sang about that once.
We did. What song?
I could never be ready. Maybe they did prepare, but they just weren't ready.
Well, I mean, unless White Diamond was just like, you know what, I'm gonna give these two a kid and just run away.
Oh no.
Because I'm pretty sure she dealt with Yellow and Blue when they were first made.
I don't know.
Another thing I want to bring, you guys mentioned Pink's design, so I want to mention this real quick. So Steven, during like in the episode, the little Cinderella pebble mice, constructed the dress. Obviously, a lot of Cinderella parallel going here. So I get why Steven wants to like dress up as Pink, so that way like, hey, if I dress like Pink, maybe White can talk to me. The thing is, it kind of contradicts. So you know, like in both blue and yellow interactions, Steven's like kind of hoping like, hey, just me as me, Steven. I'm not Rose or Pink. I'm Steven. But like but now he's dressed up as Pink. So like, why would you want to dress up as your own mom when you dress up as yourself? Because you want to show the diamonds that you are your own person, not your mom. You know.
Well, I think Steven realizes that that's going to be easier said than done, and his goal right now is just to get them to talk about Earth. So I don't really think his main goal is to get to them to see him as Steven. I think his main goal is just to get them to listen, and like the best way to do that is to act as much as Pink Diamond would. Just because they're still under the impression, like, they haven't made the distinction that they're two different people yet. Like, Blue Diamond, like, yeah, I'll call you Steven, but I'm pretty sure this is just one of the fake personas you put on, so I think it's cute.
Little nickname.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what a cute little nickname, Steven. So adorable. You're just want to pinch your little cheek. Like, they're just treating him like a little baby. I mean, he is the little baby shape. I just thought, like, because, like, I remember what you and Laura said in your own podcast about how, like, this is kind of like it's going to throw Steven into another identity crisis. Like, he first had to deal with it with Rose Quartz. Now he has to deal with being Pink Diamond and his role into this. So, like, I was kind of like, oh, I was worried that Steven would backpedal himself, that he would have another identity crisis.
I mean, I think that's inevitable. Regardless, to be honest with you, just because, I mean, he was kind of salty in the last episode. He's just like, what, are you gonna call me Pink Diamond too? And Connie's just like, no.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, it just kind of seems like he really was only doing it to get the Diamond's attention, because, like, you have to remember, they have no way of knowing what a sun is. They have no idea of, like, oh, two gems. I mean, in their sense, they would get like two beings together creating another being. They don't really understand that, so he's just trying to, like, appease them in the way that he knows that they're going to listen right now, because if they're not willing to listen, he can't even explain to them who he is. So he needs to get them to listen first, and the best way to do that is to act like he's Pink Diamond. So
did you guys want to talk about the song real quick?
I mean, I mean, it made me emotional personally, just because, I don't know, it's like you're thinking about how far Steven's come in the show and how the gems essentially see him as a leader, where at the very start they wouldn't even give him the time of day. So I just think it was a nice callback to how his relationship with them has changed. It was just a really nice song.
Yeah.
I thought it was very, like, it's very, like, it's very, the way the music is written and composed is very, it feels very uplifting, and it also feels like a Broadway song. I can imagine Steven singing there alone on a stage, just looking up, like, and talking about, how he feels right now, and how what his mom would have felt in a situation, so it's very, like, to me, it gives me like a feeling of like yeah, like, I can do this. I have to believe in myself. Believe in Steven in a way. So I very much enjoy the song, and plus, Zach is getting pretty good with the voice chords there. Hopefully, not hasn't matured too much, so it won't, like, sound a little off.
Yeah, I was super happy. I mean, the song is great because I don't want to say it's a mislead, but it's just kind of almost like, where is it going? Like, you think, is he remembering what Pink Diamond remembered? Is it just like he just kind of has a feeling, and then it kind of hits you with what it is, what's so familiar. And yeah, the song sounds great. And we haven't had really that many songs in the past season and a half or whatever, so more songs the merrier.
Yeah, This one was emotional too, which we haven't had a good emotional singing and crying song for a while now.
Well, there was Think About Love, or whatever that song's called.
Yeah, but I mean, that one was more uplifting than it was anything else.
True, that's fair. This song would have been better if Steven had sung it like a cowboy, though.
No, it would have been better if it was a callback to Big Fat Meanie Zucchini.
I'll win them with the Joker with a song. Hey, Blue Diamond, you're a big fat meanie zucchini.
I mean, if blue and yellow fuse, then they really are a big fat meanie zucchini.
The big thing with this episode is the end where kind of Steven puts together the pieces that the diamonds are not all that dissimilar from his life in season 1 with the crystal gems. What I kind of liked, my takeaway more from the episode and what I kind of saw they were doing is that it's Steven and the diamonds are essentially like a generation gap. It's like if you've ever tried to have a conversation with like your older relatives about just like anything in particular that they're set in stone on and you have other opinions on, it can be like super daunting. And it just kind of, maybe this is like an obvious thing, but it clicked for me in this episode that that's kind of what they're going with. Like, I think a lot of people can relate to having older relatives where you try to talk to them about something and they're just like, they just shut you down. Like, they don't even want to hear it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's kind of what I got from it too.
It's like trying to show a very distant family between the diamonds.
I mean,
not really.
more like misunderstanding, kind of like.
Well,
there's just
stubbornness that comes with doing things a certain way for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, not wanting to change your ways for the newer generation because you think it's silly or that they don't know any better than you because they're younger. That type of a thing.
And that's also part of what I wanted to talk about with the gems and in what happens in Familiar, but especially in Together Alone, in that, like, I feel like Steven doesn't... I think Steven treating the diamonds like they're the crystal gems, that he just needs to make them laugh or whatever, I honestly think that's, like, a mistake, a really big mistake. Like, I think there are similarities, certainly, and it is very cool that the show is paralleling it, but I don't think Steven understands that there's a difference between... with the gems, he just wanted to fit in and be accepted and be taken seriously. That is very different from coming into a place and saying, your way of life is wrong. Because that's ultimately what Steven is doing. He in the song, he sings about them stopping their, evil terror throughout space or something. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the diamonds are, like, right or whatever, but right or wrong, they've been living their lifestyle for however many years. And Steven comes in, and I don't think Steven really understands that he's asking them to do what they're also asking him to do. And we can root for Steven all we want because we know that his way of life is just a peaceful one of acceptance and love and all that sort of stuff. But I don't think it's really fair for Steven to kind of come in and just have he needs to play it a little more, I guess, like, balanced. Like, he needs to kind of give them a little bit too. And he does try. He does wear the outfit, and he does try to do the ball by their rules, but he's so quick to dance and fuse with Connie, which it was like an accident, but I mean, he still was out on the dance floor, which he was told not to do.
It really shows between his interaction with him and the diamonds that things have not changed between them, and they're not really willing to change right away, like immediately.
Well, no one, but that's the thing, no one is. Like,
yeah.
I think...
And Steven can know that, but, again, he's kind of like, oh, I guess I'll try, let's give it a shot,
Well, and I mean, this is talking about Together Alone, but it's okay to move on. But it's just kind of like, I don't know. There's two different approaches in terms of how to deal with, like, a culture clash, essentially. And option one is to just be like, well, I am what I am. I'm happy with my life. I know I'm not wrong. I'm gonna live it, and I'm gonna basically, like, push it, and they'll have to accept me or whatever. Or there's the way of, playing the part a little bit in order to slowly start to change people's minds instead of just kind of, like, coming in and being like, woo, I'm Steven, I'm fusing with Connie because that's what I do. Like, I feel like there's kind of this interesting interplay of, like, balance between being in your face and kind of like 100% stern in your beliefs and not ever wavering even to just play along, and then the other side of it, which is, putting people in a cool pot and then slowly raising the boil.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you see this in, like, everyday things, like you said, with the generational gaps, and it's just like, if you introduce too many things at once, people are scared of change, and when they're scared of change, a lot of times people react violently a lot of the times. And I think that's basically what you were saying. Is Steven's coming in, he's throwing all these things at them. He's just like, you need to fix the corrupted gems. I'm friends with my pearl. She's not my belongings. I'm gonna fuse with this human who's not even a gem. I'm gonna go dance on the dance floor. You know, he's introducing all these things that are against their culture. And I'm not saying that the diamonds are right in any way. I think that I mean, obviously it's absolutely appalling what they're doing with the dictatorship and everything.
Right.
That goes without saying. But at the same time, like, if you have relatives that have different beliefs than you, and I mean, we just had the holidays, I'm sure people have run into this problem.
Yeah.
If you just go in there guns blazing, like, oh, you're wrong on this, 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 and this, they're gonna get angry because you're basically coming in and you're telling them that everything's wrong, and they don't understand any of the new things that you're telling them
And
about.
you're not teaching either. You're not
No.
enlightening. You're not persuading. You're just like, I'm doing this and it's the way it is and I'm right because I'm right. And it's like, I mean, you know, we know Steven's way is right because it's the way that it's not harming anyone else, whereas the Diamond's way is actively oppressing a bunch of people. But Steven's not, you know, and this isn't like, I'm not like, oh, Steven is such a terrible character. No, I think this is a really good flaw to give Steven,
Yeah.
and I think there's a really good interplay in this episode. In both of these episodes.
That's why I'm so excited where the show is going, because like I thought that it was going to be going in this direction, that this arc is going to be teaching Steven that not everybody you can just reason with. Like, he's been reasoning. A lot of people don't want to listen. A lot of people don't want to change.
Right.
And having Steven eventually have to realize that, because that is one of his character flaws. He wants to go around hugging everybody and blowing kisses and throwing out flowers. You can't do that with everybody.
And it's worked. It's like, worked with everyone up to this point.
Exactly. Like, and it's not going to work with them.
Yeah.
It kind of shows, like, you know, I was just thinking how, like, for example, in Star Trek, in Star Trek Next Generation, Captain Picard, main character, every time he visits like a home planet, or particularly the Klingon arc he went through, he would try to respect the culture, but at the same time show between right and wrong. And I feel like Steven's gonna learn how he, like, not only the Diamonds need to learn to respect his culture, he needs to respect their culture. Yes, it's weird with the sentient walls, the oppressment is terrible, but he needs to learn about, you know, seeing their way. Like, he was trying to do that with the whole, like, I'm gonna dress up as pink, but he needs to understand their point of view, their way on life, in order to, like, connect and talk with them.
He was also, surprise, acting incredibly emotional and, like, in the moment, as opposed to, like, okay, White didn't come to my first plan, let's regroup and come up with a second plan. You know, like, you've been on Homeworld for, like, what, 2 days, Steven? Like, you know, you have to, like, this is the supreme leader who doesn't even talk to, like, the second in commands. Like, you can't just expect that she's gonna come, and then, like, when she doesn't, it's like, alright, whatever. I like the way it plays out, though, because it is I mean, I don't think Steven meant to fuse with Connie. Like, well, we know that because Stevani is surprised that they exist in the moment. They think that they're still just Steven and Connie. So we know that he didn't mean to do that, but he still went out on the dance floor. So it's like there's a certain amount of Steven wasn't playing it as smart as he could have, and wanted to kind of be like his mother and be rebellious. You know, but then there's a certain amount of, like, well, what happened was just an accident, and it I don't know, it's good writing in that way.
Yeah, and, like, I feel like if it just ended at the accident, it wouldn't have escalated to the point that it did. I think what agitated the situation is these gems started acting on their own. You had Garnet fusing, you had Opal fusing, and then you had her name is Jade, by the way, the name of the green fusion. That was in the credits. So they had Jade fusing, and, like, I think that's what got them more aggravated. Like, they're used to Pink throwing these little shenanigans. What they're not used to is Gems having the guts to go and do it also. So that's probably what set them off as bad as it did. I think that they still would have punished Steven and Connie regardless, probably more so Steven because they called Connie his pet. So, like, I don't think that they think reprimanding her is really all that important.
I almost wish that Garnet, I mean, Garnet fusing immediately was, like, pretty awesome, but I almost wish that it didn't happen, because I would kind of be curious as to what Stevani would do. Would they adamantly defend their existence and make a stand right there? Or would they acknowledge that now is not the right time, defuse, and kind of slink off? I don't know.
I feel like knowing Stevani, they probably would stand up to the diamonds, but here again, they also have a lot of anxiety too, like we saw. And I mean, I know this is all the way back from the first appearance that we saw with Stevani, but it is a parallel of the episode. They might have had like kind of like an anxiety attack like thing like they had with Kevin, and that would cause them to split apart and not go like defend themselves against the diamonds. Like that probably would have happened. I feel like they're more comfortable in their own skin than when they were way back then, though, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I feel like that would have been kind of an interesting thing to see. But what happened was super satisfying as well. Garnet just like slurps together like Ruby and Sapphire just magnetize.
Yeah, no, they were. Somebody made a GIF of it, and they were like, if you go through frame by frame, they are super far away from each other when they start fusing. And Pearl was hilarious because she literally was just like, okay, I'm gonna go, and she runs up and just picks up Amethyst, and Amethyst is just like, yeah, okay. Like Pearl literally just picked her up bridal style.
No, I loved her defining moment. She's like, and me, and like, yeah, after the diamonds, you show him, Pearl. Enough of this.
Like, and oh my gosh, I feel like part of the problem, the reason why Steven's not really taking this as seriously or thinking about regrouping, is I think he's assuming that White Diamond is like Blue and Yellow. Blue and Yellow are kind of pushovers. Like they're not, but they are compared to. I think
they're emotional. They have emotional weaknesses that Steven can exploit, basically.
Yeah. Like, and he is already learning how to emotionally exploit them already.
Yay.
But I don't think he realizes how bad White Diamond is. I don't think he realizes that she probably does not care. She probably doesn't have emotional weaknesses, or if she does, he's not going to know how to get to them. So I think that's part of why he's not like, I mean, I wouldn't say he's not taking the thing seriously, because he did take it seriously for most of the.
I don't think he understands. I think honestly, convincing Blue and Yellow in the moment was such a great victory for him that he thinks. Again, it worked. It worked on everyone. Bismuth came back and it worked on her pretty immediately. You know, like it's worked on Lapis. It's worked on Pearl. Or on Peridot. It's worked on Pearl too. But
it definitely shows in the beginning of the Together Alone episode, where it showed like, you know, Steven had this dream of probably his mother's memories of like playing with the original Pink Pearl, and like seeing like the haunting tower of like White Diamond, and he's like coughing up, you know, Rose's hair. I think it shows that White does not really play around, and it's gonna. And I think the opposite is gonna happen. That like White's gonna manipulate him because he's the most emotional out of all the gems.
Do you think White was brainwashing him there, or inflicting something?
Maybe attempting to.
I think she was just intercepting his dream. Maybe she was trying to do some type of a brainwashing thing on him. But I definitely think it was her, though.
Was it you, Lea, that had like the theory that White is brainwashing everyone, or it has like a sway of influence over everyone?
Yeah, like, so I think she has like mind control issues, or just she just has like an emotional influence on them. I think with certain gems over others, she has more control. I think with Steven, it's purely altering his emotional state and making him afraid. I don't think she's gonna ever like, she can say things to try and like sway him or get him to act a certain way, but I don't think she outright has the ability to control him. That being said, I do think she has abilities with other gems, like the original Pink Pearl. We see her completely being controlled by White Diamond. I think she's completely controlled. I don't think she has any like self-autonomy whatsoever to herself. She's just completely being used as a puppet, which makes me scared. And I know you were gonna yell at me if I talked about Pearl for more than 5 minutes. I'm very scared for Pearl, because this basically confirms that she was originally White Diamond's Pearl. At least to me, that's what that confirms. So I'm scared for her.
Curious, because it definitely kind of proves that, like, in a way, maybe that's why Pink Diamond has our Pearl, because it shows that maybe Pink Pearl was being like a bad influence to Pink Diamond. You know, they're playing, they're giggling around, you know, they're doing like fun stuff. So maybe like White's like seeing that, like, oh no, they're being out of control. So why don't we switch pearls? Let me fix your Pearl, Pink. You know, I just want to borrow for a bit.
I'm 100% convinced that the cracked pearl did originally belong to Pink. I'm not 100% convinced that our pearl belonged to White specifically. I don't know. I'm not. I mean, it would make sense, but I don't know. I feel like Pearl would be even more messed up.
I mean,
Like
implying she isn't messed up currently.
No, but I think she'd feel a little less like as bold and brash as she is on Homeworld right now. No, like she was walking around like, "Oh, Steven, let me go fetch your court." Like if White Diamond was her diamond originally, like, do you think maybe she'd be like, "Oh, I hope White Diamond not coming for me"?
Well, I mean, she also hasn't seen her in person yet. She was freaked out by just White Pearl, and like, I mean, she might not feel like the full gravity of the situation, because if she's had like 6,000 years of like reformation, that like she's her own gem. So I feel like it would come crumbling down if she saw White Diamond herself. I feel like if she actually saw her physically, she'd be like, "Oh my god," like she wants to run away. But since she's not seeing her physically, it might be a little bit different. I'm not sure. Like, time will tell with that. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying she definitely isn't, but I'm just saying that it, like, the cracked one, it was most certainly Pink's. Like that, you know, we've had enough pretty hard pieces of evidence that I can say most likely that is the case. But like the biggest thing that is like, well, our Pearl must be White's is mostly because of the flip.
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, the forehead gem and like the color palette and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's other stuff too, but I won't get into it because like
I don't think I just don't think it's as convincing, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I feel like we need more. Like, a lot of Pearl's story, I feel, isn't revealed yet. Like, yeah, some of her backstory with Rose was, but I also feel like we still don't know a lot about her, because a lot of the stuff that she knows is like, I mean, yeah, she belonged to a diamond, so obviously she would know it, but compared to like, she just knows like a lot of stuff. She has a lot of mannerisms that are pretty weird, I guess. I don't know. Like,
I mean, but we know from Peridot that other gems have pearls. Like, it's a, I don't know. I'm just saying. I think maybe it'd be more interesting even if she was like some kind of pearl to like a lower level gem, and then like through a lottery or something, she got to be a diamond's pearl. I don't know. I think there's other interesting stories there, but you might be right too.
yeah. I mean, we'll see. I feel like it's probably gonna either come like during Battle of Heart and Mind or before. Because here's like an interesting thing, and I was talking about this with my friends last night. But here's what would be really interesting is if the diamonds have like more control, specifically White Diamond over Pearls, and not just like let's just act like Pearl doesn't belong to White Diamond for a minute. If she just has like control over Pearls, like we've seen that diamonds have control over them, just as like as a subspecies, because Pink Diamond was able to seal Pearl away from being able to talk. So we know that they have like some sort of influence over them. Wouldn't it be interesting if White Diamond used Pearl as leverage against Steven to get him to act a certain way, and that's how she manipulates him?
Ooh, like blackmail?
Yeah, kind of like she has control over her, and like Steven has like a really close bond with Pearl at this point, and he wouldn't leave her behind. So what if he can use that as leverage against him? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Especially since she's poofed now, and Stevani was thrown into the light I feel like I can't remember what the name of the chamber was. It was like light free something chamber. But yeah, so like Stevani has no control. They probably took all the gems. You mean to tell me that like they wouldn't do like put them in certain places? So like they could very easily just, White Diamond could be like, yeah, I want that pearl, by the way.
All right, well, we can get into speculation in a minute. Let's talk about a few of the other things about Together Alone. Like Yellow Pearl not knowing what fun is.
Fun.
I was pretty sure Steven was gonna start singing.
Oh
Like,
my gosh. You're not the only one. I feel like a
yeah,
lot of us, like in the back of our heads, just started singing the
yeah,
SpongeBob song.
yes, most certainly. I also thought a very cute touch was Blue Pearl's art. Like, we saw her drawing in the trial, and I think most people just kind of assumed that it was like either just like a background gag, or that like that was how they took notes on like the court proceedings or something like that. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I certainly didn't expect them to make that her hobby, and that's kind of her like human trait that they brought back. I thought that was a really clever use of something that happened like 50 episodes ago.
Yeah, no, like that was really, really cute. I also love how she was so willing to just jump in, like after Yellow was just like, oh, what we care doesn't think we're not supposed to have hobbies or anything. And then Blue Pearl didn't care. She's just like, I like to draw. And she said it like really timidly, but also really happy. I feel like the Pearls, I mean, and we know from Yellow that they've dealt with her before because she's like, oh, I forgot how difficult you can be. So I feel like they had like probably like somewhat of like a fun relationship with Pink, and I think that implies it's just like a really, really cute way to imply that they used to have like a friendship with her, and that Blue Pearl is so open with just like, I like drawing as my hobby. Blue Diamond lets me do it. It's
uh,
just so cute.
And like Yellow's like love for modeling, apparently, just showing how like a snark she is.
Oh
yeah.
gosh,
Yeah.
she's literally the Grinch. That's literally
What?
what she is. No, like she's just very self-absorbed. And we call her the Grinch because of her first introduction, the face that she
Oh.
made.
Oh yeah, of course.
Fair, fair.
Oh, I thought it was really cute. It kind of shows like more bonding moments between Steven and the Pearls in a way. Like I guess you can just talk to any Pearl at this point. Um,
In an episode that's a little drier in terms of comedy, rightfully so, but the great joke where White Pearl shows up and she's like, "White Diamond has more important things to attend to." like, like, man.
And then
uh,
she literally just floats over to the chair, and the other diamonds are like, they're all terrified of this tiny, creepy pearl that's like half T-posing.
I don't think this is where this show is gonna go with it, but in a lot of other pieces of media, it would turn out that the pearl that is currently White Pearl would be actually White Diamond. That there's some sort of weird switcheroo where like White Pearl like overthrew the diamond and has been like secretly the real leader or something. Um, I don't think that's what they'll do here, but it is kind of interesting that like her reaction to Stevani. That was the first time we've really gotten any reaction out of her. And if she's just, I don't want to say just a pearl, but if she's a pearl in the same way that the other pearls are pearls to their diamond, but like don't necessarily strictly like follow exactly as their diamonds are. Like we saw that they're both able to lighten up a little bit and both able to have their own hobbies, and they don't necessarily believe in whatever their diamonds like think. It is kind of interesting that White had that specific reaction.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely see. That's one of the theories that's circulating around right now is that White Pearl is actually like the true antagonist, and like White Diamond has absolutely like no, like she hasn't been anywhere because she's literally being like controlled by this pearl.
Like Wizard of Oz style. Like,
Yeah,
do
like
not look at the pearl behind this curtain.
oh my god, no, that's literally what it is.
I mean, I guess if they were to do that, the purpose might be that, I don't know, like some sort of like dark version of Steven's ideology where that pearl wanted freedom so that she could oppress others or something. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really think that's where this show's going with it, but it is kind of framed in such a way that does make you think a little.
Well, I mean, the fact that she's broken too, you don't know if like her being broken somehow like awakened some sort of like ability or something. Like as weird as that sounds, we have no idea. This show literally goes in like the most unexpected places at times. Like I wasn't
Lion's
expecting
a zombie.
I mean, that's essentially what it is. Yeah, they have a
Um,
way of just like surprising and coming out of left field sometimes. So
mhm.
Do you guys have any other details about the episode you want to talk about?
I do have one. So at when the Jades fused together, I was like, oh my, okay, hi, and like Garnet was like, I don't know how she came up here. It was really cute. It was really adorable. I love them. They're just cute little babies. But the thing is, it shows like I think what Rebecca's trying to show here is that a little foreshadowing is gonna happen. Like Steven's gonna realize like, hey, maybe like during the episode of Battle of Heart and Mind, Steven will like maybe do like a speech like uh off colors, people who like to fuse, come together. I think it's supposed to show like a foreshadowing that like maybe people who felt people like the Jades are gonna like come up and help Steven.
Well, I mean, I think it's just the continuing theme of like gems are repressed, yo. Like Steven doesn't have to really work that hard to find a gem that's like, oh, I like fun too. like he's on Homeworld for like 2 hours the first time, and he runs into a whole gang of misfits. He's at the zoo, and like the whole Famethyst are just like these goofy amethyst types. Like it's not like, I don't know, they're not hiding it very well.
No, but with him fusing with Connie, it definitely will show like a little spark. I think it's gonna show a little spark of like maybe a secret uprising on Homeworld. This is like, hey, I've heard Pink fused with her pet. Oh my gosh, another fusion came across, and it'll be like a domino effect, and it'll be spread throughout Homeworld. The thing is, might cause like maybe like another maybe possible rebellion on Homeworld.
Well, we know there's gonna be another war, basically at the end of the series.
crystal
Yeah.
gems to electric boogaloo.
No, I mean
Boogaloo?
there's no way you can structure the show in such a way that it isn't gonna end in some sort of war.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, I definitely think that there's going to be a war coming up. But the interesting thing about this one is they're both kind of going to be led by diamonds, but also not really, because I guess Steven technically is a diamond, but he also isn't. So it's just kind of like a weird parallel, I guess, between the both of them.
Yeah. I also kind of mentioned because a lot of people are like saying like Connie's an idiot. Why would you go up there and fuse with Steven? You should know this. And just in defense of her, she saw that her friend was being upset. White didn't come. How can Steven talk to her now?
Well, they
He
clearly
tried to
didn't mean to fuse. That's a
Yeah.
No, he
dumb
didn't.
argument.
Yeah, I don't know
A lot
why
of
people are
people
like
are
that.
Yeah, a lot of people are cussing Connie out. Like, listen, I don't think that she was wrong. She was trying to make her friend feel better in a very stressful situation. And you have to keep in mind, Connie knows a lot less about gem stuff than Steven does. Like, Steven already knows bare minimum. Connie knows even less than that. Like, I'm sure Steven tells her things, but he doesn't tell her like everything, or even if he is, he's not explaining it in the way that it was probably explained to him. So she doesn't understand. Like she knows that the diamonds are powerful, but she was just trying to like boost up his morale, because if this was going to be a constant thing that they were trying to get to White Diamond over and over and over, she knew that it was probably going to take multiple attempts, and she didn't want him giving up on the first try. So she was just trying to cheer him up. She didn't know that it was going to lead to them fusing into Stavani. She didn't know that it was going to lead to all the gems getting poofed. She didn't know that any of that was going to happen. So yes, like her action was a catalyst to everything that followed, but at the same time, like I don't think she was wrong. Like I'm not going to get angry at her for it.
Maybe she was just trying to emulate Footloose. No, but it's like it was not particularly wise of them to go out and dance. Like I'm not gonna say that that's a good decision, but like
No.
they're just kids, and they thought that like that small rule breakage of them dancing might inspire others to lighten up, or they were just trying to cheer each other up, and they clearly fused by accident. I still don't think they're really. I don't know. Like a human and gem fusing is still kind of a new enough thing that like I don't think they get how in tune with each other they are. I don't know, but I don't. That's not like some sort of big huge mistake that like Con needs to be dragged over the coals for or anything. And it wasn't.
Yeah,
It's equally their fault. Like.
Yeah.
I mean, like, people on my video were getting, like, real harsh on, like, Connie in the comment section. They're like, well, we hope the diamonds kill her. And I was like, what?
Wow.
Like, I'm not even joking. I got, like, 3 comments of people wishing Connie dead. And I'm like, y'all, She's a kid. Calm down, please.
Steven's a kid too. He's way over his head about how to control the situation, right?
Yeah,
Like he doesn't know better. She doesn't know better. Just they're kids. Calm down, people.
And also, they're being punished too. It's not like the show let them make a stupid
Yeah.
mistake and then just is like, "Oh, you're great, Mabel. Keep doing you." Oh, excuse me.
That shade.
Speaking of Death to Connie, I love how Yellow Diamond zaps all the other gems and then holds her hand for a split second like she's gonna zap Stevani, and then instead just grabs him. Like, did you guys catch that? Because, like, that was a little scary for a second there. We have no idea what that would do.
Oh yeah, no, because we still don't know if Steven can poof 1, 2, and 2. We don't know what would happen.
Right.
To Connie, like unless they have like,
well, we know
it
that
has like a.
They're immune to the wands, which seem to be an extension of Yellow Diamond. But like, we don't. Who knows? Like, that's not what you want to test.
I think they're saving that. I mean, it's been foreshadowed so many times that Steven's gonna end up getting separated from the gem. Like, that's been foreshadowed throughout the entire series. I just don't think that it's gonna happen just quite yet. Plus, maybe, I don't know, like, we know that diamonds can poof because that's how they faked Rose, Pink Diamond shattering, was poofing her. So it was just like, I don't know, maybe they just were like, they didn't want to poof her. They just wanted to punish her. So, and then they didn't know what it was gonna do to the, I don't know, like the Connie half of Stevani. Like, they don't know what was going to happen to them if they electrocuted them.
Well, I think it's also probably that I mean, as bad as the situation looked in general, one diamond poofing another diamond at the ball would probably have looked even worse for the diamonds. Like, that's
right.
you know, that's war talk right there. Like that, you know, you don't. I mean, we know that Pink is obviously lesser than the other diamonds, but that's still like, you don't want to see your very, very high-ranking leaders like fighting each other. That's rough.
Especially when you see how devoted certain gems are to the court. Like, Jasper literally went back to the Earth to try and shatter Rose Quartz in revenge of Pink Diamond. Like, you mean to tell me that if Pink Diamond did have court members there, they wouldn't start being resentful of whoever poofed who they thought was Pink Diamond?
Right. I mean, if their role was to protect their diamond at any cost, even if they knew it was certain destruction, they might have pulled a Garnet and just jumped right in front of Stevani.
Exactly, and then it would have been pure chaos because you would have had gems, and then as soon as you have a gem from Pink Diamond's court attacking the diamonds, then you have the other gems from the other courts jumping in and attacking that gem, and then it's just chaos.
Speaking of the court, it would have actually been nice to see like a few characters that were of Pink Diamond's court.
Yeah,
it's really hard to tell, honestly, because they're all like, it was like oranges, blues.
Well, I mean, we might have seen them, but they weren't characters.
Well, I mean, Jade, you can tell, was a blue diamond gem and a yellow diamond gem because on their little mosaic thing around their neck, it was blue and yellow diamonds, and then in the center of the blue and yellow diamonds, it was a green diamond. So you could tell that they belong to that court.
There was like the entrance of diamonds that showed them reacting to each other. You know, like the right one is like crying, the other one's like peeking through and such. It's really cute. It's really cute way to introduce a character.
I mean, you could just tell what court they were from their little triangles. So it's just like you would have been able to tell if there was any Pink Diamond court members there, which there wasn't. I mean, Pearl was like, I wonder what happened to Pink's court. So like that is foreshadowing that they're gonna find out what happened to them.
Maybe the same thing that happened to the rest of the Rose Quartz is.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. I wonder what's gonna happen. Do you think they're gonna unbubble them now that like they know?
I mean, I think just from like a meta sense, it would be incredibly odd for Steven to be running around with a bunch of his moms. I mean, that's the show is not above being that weird, but I don't know. like
they literally had a flying butt shit. They're really gonna put.
I'm just imagining like they make their daring escape from Homeworld again, and Steven's like, let's stop by the zoo. And then, like, it just cuts to Beach City, and Greg's like, hey, there's a ship. Steven must be coming back. And then there's just an army of rose quartzes coming out. Greg just has a heart attack and dies.
I'm wrong.
All right. Oh, anything else about this episode, or can we move on to thoughts about the preview and what's going to happen next?
I don't have anything else to add.
Okay.
I like the little differences of the sapphire designs. I thought it was really cute design. Yeah, so it kind of shows like, you know, sapphires can like they can look different. They can choose to look different from each other, like in skin tones and hairstyles.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even realize that our Ruby and Sapphire were there until after. Like, Steven's like, hey, there's Ruby and Sapphire, and I didn't see them, and I'm like, Steven, that's racist. You can't just say that. Like, they're not the same person. Like, come on, man. But because Garnet says she's not going, and then she's there, and like it's pretty fast because like a lot of things have to move pretty fast. And there's like a lot of similar looking rubies and sapphires, but. All right, well, thank you guys very much for being a part of this. If you don't know already, Lea did a discussion the other day over on her channel. So if you want a little more like first reaction and like probably like 80% more talking about Pearl, go check that out.
And good laughs.
And 80% more laughing.
It was very wholesome.
And Nikki does some. I think you did some art about Familiar, right? That got pretty good traction.
Oh, I got a lot of traction apparently, more than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sure the link will be down in the description, I guess.
Yeah. Check out Nikki's Twitter at what is it? The Imaginative Artist.
It's Imaginative Artist, or Nikki Does Art on Tumblr, which that's where I got the most hits.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll probably be back. Maybe next week or maybe in 2 weeks or whatever. I don't know how we're going to talk about these, but I'll continue to talk about more Steven Universe as it comes out. So, yeah. With that, PIEGUYRULZ, out.
Bye, guys.
See you later, Ruby Riders.